If you're watching this video, it's pretty likely that you or someone you care about has nightmares. What if you could really get rid of your nightmares completely and permanently? The free app that you're about to get is a major breakthrough for really getting rid of nightmares. What if someone invented a new technology that was like running antivirus software on human beings? What if that human antivirus software was able to show you how to wipe out the energy patterns in you that cause your nightmares? What if getting rid of your nightmares became as easy as dragging files to the recycle bin? Well, you're in luck. That's exactly what the Vaporize Your Nightmare app teaches you how to do. You'll be amazed both at how fast and how easy it is to actually get rid of your nightmares for good. The real cause of it being difficult to get over having nightmares is emotional incompetence. And pretty much everyone is emotionally incompetent. Why is that? I figured it out because I had to. I had a very pressing need to figure it out. That's because on December 7th, 1993, I got shot in the chest by a deranged stranger with a .44 caliber handgun. I miraculously lived through this assault, but I had PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, as a result of the attack. My name is Tom Stone. From the experience of getting shot, I had all of the typical PTSD symptoms: nightmares, flashbacks, startle response, anxiety, depression, hypervigilance, sleep problems. The accepted dogma of the psychological community is that if you have PTSD, that it's not curable. You just have to learn how to live with it and do your best to cope with it. Well, I didn't buy that. It seemed to me they must be missing something. So I set about the task of seeing if I could find what's missing. It took a few years of my own specialized research to figure it out, but I finally figured it out. And it turned out to be simple. When we're little, we all get emotionally overwhelmed many, many times. We hate this. Everybody hates this. And everyone decides to do their best to avoid having to get emotionally overwhelmed if at all possible. The main way we do that is to suppress the experience of emotional pain as much as possible. And we do that over and over again. It also happens before we have even learned how to talk. It's a pre-verbal decision. We just do our best to not feel the pain. And this becomes a deep habit. We get so good at suppressing intense emotional experiences that it becomes our default way of dealing with emotions. So the decision to suppress our feelings doesn't have words associated with it. It's a feeling level decision. Then we grow up and learn how to speak. We start to relate to the world through words and language. But because we didn't have words associated with our decision to limit our natural capacity to feel things, we just keep suppressing our feelings immediately. This is a setup for being really lousy at resolving emotional pain, stress, and trauma. This is the reason that most people are basically emotionally incompetent. Let's be real here. How many people do you know who are good at handling their emotions? Not many, if any. And that's why psychology thinks that PTSD is incurable. But it's not incurable. In fact, after I had this insight about the pre-verbal decision to resist feeling things fully, I decided to try some experiments of doing the exact opposite of what we are deeply conditioned to do. I decided to try getting closer to the sensation of the energy of the remaining trauma in my body. I said to myself, Tom, you must be crazy. But I decided to go for it anyway. Here's exactly what I did. I knew that all I had to do was to think about the incident, and I would still feel the terror that I felt when it originally happened. I did that, and sure enough, I could feel the sensation of the terror feeling in my chest. So I decided to focus on the strongest area of the sensation that was right in the middle of it. I did that, and it was intense, but even though it was intense, I stuck with it, and fairly quickly I realized I could handle the intensity. In fact, it wasn't all that difficult. I quickly discovered that, strangely enough, if I just stayed focused on the strongest central part of the sensation, that it was possible to continue to feel it, and even more fascinating, as I continued to feel right into the center of the strongest part of it, it gradually started to become less intense. It was getting a bit softer. Amazing. I was intrigued, So I decided to get my courage up and get even closer to the remaining feeling of the terror. When I did that, it made the feeling seem stronger. Of course, it hadn't become stronger. I was just closer to it, so it seemed stronger. So I hung in there and just continued to feel right into the center of the most intense part of the energy field of the sensation. To my astonishment and delight, it got softer again. Okay, now my confidence was building. I got closer to the remaining feeling again. Again, that made it seem stronger. But I just kept getting closer and closer to whatever was left of it until it got so soft I couldn't find it anymore. I searched all around inside my body, but I couldn't find any remaining feeling of terror. So I decided to see if I could provoke the feeling by remembering the traumatic event. I thought about it, and the feeling of terror was completely gone. Wow, I must be onto something. But let's see if it lasts. I'll wait until tomorrow and see if it's still really gone. When I woke up the next morning, I thought about the getting shot incident again, and there was still no terror. Certainly, I could still remember the events, but I didn't feel that old familiar feeling of terror. And I realized I had slept through the night with no nightmares for the first time since getting shot. I decided that I would apply what I had discovered to every remaining feeling associated with the trauma of the whole experience, including getting shot, the fear that he would come into the house and shoot my wife and daughter too, the bumpy, painful ambulance ride to the hospital, 2 surgeries, the experiences of feeling like I was going to die while I was waking up from the anesthesia. I used this new way of feeling things fully to resolve one traumatic experience after the other until they were all gone. I couldn't find anything else to apply the technique to. The result was that all my PTSD symptoms disappeared completely. No more nightmares, no more flashbacks, no more startle response, no more anxiety, no more depression, no more hypervigilance. I had cured myself of PTSD. Unheard of. I started to share what I had discovered with family and friends. I rapidly learned that the technique could be used for all kinds of stressful situations. You didn't have to have severe trauma in order to benefit from this insight. So since then, I've been teaching people all over the world how to do this. I've been doing that now for over 20 years. And I've used these wonderful techniques to help people get rid of nightmares completely and permanently. I helped Angela in the UK get rid of her nightmares. It took 1 session, and she's been nightmare-free for the last 3 years. Here's a short video from Angela about her experience.
My name's Angela, and about 8 years ago I started to have some therapy with a counsellor, and she did some work with me which uncovered some really deep-seated, deep-buried childhood traumas. And the same night that those traumas were uncovered, I started experiencing really vivid, lucid, horrific nightmares where I would hallucinate and be completely disorientated. I wouldn't know where I was. I'd be completely panicking. My heart would be pumping so violently that I thought it might stop. That started and just varied in intensity over the years. More recently, this year in fact, I was in a situation with a friend, a trusted friend, who actually attacked and raped me. And from that moment on, I was diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. I was a prisoner in my own home. I couldn't go out. I was really jumpy, full of anxiety, and it was a really horrendous time, and I just thought my life was over. And a few months down the line, I was introduced to a man called Tom Stone, who said he might be able to help me with my PTSD, mainly my nightmares, which were so debilitating that no matter how great of a day that I had, or accomplished all the things that I wanted to do during the day, I would still go to bed at night and still wake up screaming, terrified, just reliving the experiences over and over again. So I met with Tom, and an hour and a half later, when the training was finished, that that was that. And that night I went to bed, not knowing what would happen next, expecting more of the same, but went to bed and woke up the next morning having not had a single nightmare. The second night I went to bed, slept through a storm, one of the most loud, apparently according to all my friends, a really loud thunderstorm that woke everybody up, and I slept through it. And then last night again, slept like a baby, had a great night's sleep, and today I've felt great and amazing and full of energy. So thank you, Tom.
So these second 2 nights, no nightmares again?
Nothing whatsoever. Absolutely nothing.
Fantastic.
Great night's sleep. There's just no price you can put on that at all.
I've developed 8 different techniques, and you can learn all of them for free. They're called the Pure Awareness techniques. That's because at the end of each technique, you arrive at the experience of your own awareness without anything occupying it, so the awareness is pure. Over the years, I've used different names for my work: human software engineering, emotional mastery training, and now I call it inner greatness optimizing. And within Inner Greatness Optimizing, we now have this very cool app system that you can use to guide yourself through these amazing techniques at your own pace. I've also developed a number of special programs for helping people resolve specific problems, such as reducing the stresses that cause anxiety, depression, nightmares, fibromyalgia, resentments, grief, heartbreak, and stress. This program is called Vaporize Your Nightmares. In this program, you will learn 3 different pure awareness techniques. You'll learn what is called the In technique. This is the one that I first discovered. It's the one for resolving trauma and emotional pain. You'll also learn the Out technique. This one is for resolving stresses that are called reactive emotions. And you'll also learn the Locate technique. That's for helping you find the energy field of the emotion when it's well hidden due to your long-standing habit of emotional suppression. So you'll be guided through the different steps of using the techniques to vaporize the different energy patterns of your nightmares. There are 2 wonderful things about this program. It really works, and it's free. So that's the story about how to get rid of your nightmares and how I discovered how to do that. Thousands of people have learned how to do this. You can learn how to get rid of your nightmares too. Click on the link on this page for the App Store for your phone or tablet and get started vaporizing your nightmares right now.